Hey Bills Mafia! The Buffalo Bills are working harder than ever to perfect their roster and bring a Super Bowl to Western New York. Every offseason move, every position battle, it's all part of the plan to build something great. And today, we've got a potential blockbuster that could take our offense from dangerous to downright unstoppable. If you believe in the Bills' mission to win it all, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Buffalo Beat News for nonstop coverage of your favorite team. Now, let's talk about a move that could change everything, a trade for Washington Commanders. Wide receiver Terry McLaren, a two-time Pro Bowler who could give Josh Allen the elite outside threat he needs. Plus, we'll dive into the rise of rookie cornerback Maxwell Hairston, who's already impressing the defensive coaches before his first NFL training camp. Stick around, because what's happening in Buffalo is far from ordinary. It's potentially historic. Let's not sugarcoat it. Buffalo's offense is good, very good. But if you've watched the playoffs these past few years, you know something is still missing. Josh Allen has done everything this team has asked of him and more. He's made magic happen behind a shaky offensive line, carried games with his legs, and now, after an MVP season, he's proven he's the guy. But even Superman needs a little help. Enter Terry McLaren. He's one of the most consistent receivers in the league, and he's doing it with a quarterback carousel in Washington. Imagine what he could do with a generational talent like Josh Allen. In his NFL career, McLaren has gone over 1,000 yards in 5 straight seasons, and he's done it despite constant changes in coaching, scheme, and signal callers. In 2024, he hit a career-best 13 touchdowns. He stretches the field, he wins one-on-one battles, and he draws the kind of attention that makes the entire offense better. The Bills have depth in the receiver room. Khalil Shakir is trending up. Keon Coleman was a top draft pick, and free agent signings Elijah Moore and Josh Palmer bring speed and versatility. But what they lack is that true one guy who forces defenses to double team and dictates coverage schemes. That's exactly what McLaren would bring. He has the speed to threaten safeties deep, the route running to shake corners underneath, and the hands to make contested catches. And the best part, he doesn't need perfect throws to be productive. He makes the tough ones look easy to something that could be huge in Buffalo's cold weather late season games. And let's be honest, opposing defenses have learned to play man coverage against Buffalo. Why? Because they're not afraid of getting beat on the outside. A guy like McLaren flips that script instantly. Now, let's talk price. McLaren is entering the final year of his deal, so Washington might be open to moving him rather than losing him for nothing. A rumored trade package might look like this. Bills send W. Curtis Samuel, ironically, a former Commander, and a first-round pick. Commanders send W. Terry McLaren and a 5th-round pick. Yeah, a first-rounder is a lot. But let's remember, Buffalo is in a win-now window. If adding a top-tier receiver helps this team lift the Lombardi, that pick becomes worth every penny. And giving up Samuel, while tough, makes sense given the additions of Moore and Palmer this offseason. There's only one football to go around, and this team is better off consolidating talent into a true WR1. Now, let's switch gears to the defensive side of the ball, because there's a rookie making waves. Cornerback Maxwell Hairston, drafted 30th overall out of Kentucky. Hairston came into the league with speed to burn, clocking in a 4.28-second 40-yard dash. That's elite speed, folks. But what's even more exciting is how quickly he's learning the system. Bills defensive coordinator Bobby Babich recently praised Hairston, saying there's a difference between having speed and playing fast, and Hairston is starting to play fast. That means he's processing the game at a high level, not just reacting, but anticipating. He's already competing for a starting job opposite Christian Benford. And with Tre'Davious White back in the mix, that CB room is heating up. There's no doubt Hairston has the tools, and if he puts it all together, we might be looking at a shutdown duo for years to come. If these two developments come together, McLaren joining the offense and Hairston rising on defense, the Bills could make a leap. Imagine this offense: Josh Allen throwing to Terry McLaren, Keon Coleman, and Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid owning the middle of the field, James Cook threatening out of the backfield. That's not just good, it's scary good. And then defensively, a secondary with Benford, Hairston, and Teron Johnson locking down receivers. A front seven that gets after the quarterback like no other. That's how you win tight playoff games. The Bills have been close. We all know it. A play here, a turnover there. Buffalo could easily have 2 or 3 rings by now. But in this league, close doesn't cut it. That's why these moves matter. When the Bills sign veteran defensive Tackle Larry Ogunjobi to a one-year deal earlier this offseason. Most fans saw it as a smart, low-risk addition. Here's a guy with over 100 NFL starts, a former third-round pick, and a respected locker room leader, exactly the kind of guy you want in the trenches when games start getting nasty in November and December. But then came the twist, a 6-game suspension due to a positive drug test. Not what anyone hoped for, not what Ogunjobi wanted either. It sucks, he said during June's minicamp, but we're coming up with a good plan. And that's the key word here, plan, because rather than scrambling, the Bills are strategically preparing to unleash Ogunjobi at just the right time. Let's look at the timeline. Ogunjobi is out for the first 6 games, then Buffalo has its bye in Week 7. That means he returns to the lineup fresh, healthy, and rested in Week 8, when the Bills visit the Carolina Panthers. In other words, while other linemen are already feeling the grind of the season, Buffalo gets to insert a fresh 300-pound disruptor into the middle of their defense at the perfect moment. That's not a setback, that's a weapon. Defensive coordinator Bobby Babich summed it up well: as a coordinator, you adjust. But if that adjustment means plugging in a battle-tested body like Larry in late October, that's a boost we'll take every time. What makes Ogunjobi so valuable isn't just his size or strength, it's his versatility. Here's what linebacker Terrell Bernard, the QB of the defense, had to say: he knows the system already, is versatile, can play multiple positions. Ogunjobi can line up as a true nose tackle, he can rush from the 3-tech, and when offensive lines are dealing with the likes of Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, and Von Miller, Ogunjobi becomes that wild card, the guy who breaks protection plans and creates chaos. In 2021 with the Bengals, he put up 7.0 sacks. Since then, his pass rushing role shrunk a bit in Pittsburgh's scheme, but in Buffalo, there's an opening for a guy who can push the pocket, and that's where he fits in perfectly. Let's not forget, the Bills are still recovering from a defensive dip in 2024. They finished 24th in pass defense. And while some of that falls on the secondary, interior pressure was also inconsistent. Buffalo's best pass rushers Miller, Rousseau, and Oliver can only do so much. They need depth, rotational power, and players who can step in without dropping the standard. That's where Ogunjobi's presence becomes so important. He gives the Bills the ability to rotate without sacrificing impact. He's not a future prospect. He's not a gamble. He's a seasoned pro who can produce now. And for a team trying to survive and thrive through a brutal AFC East schedule, that kind of mid-season reinforcement might be the difference between home field advantage and another wild card nail-biter. One thing that stands out about Ogunjobi is his mindset. Even after the suspension, he didn't sulk or disappear. He leaned into the grind, working with strength coaches, learning the system, staying ready. I'm just really finding ways to continue to build on what I already have, he said. That's the kind of guy Sean McDermott loves, a fighter, a worker, a man who's faced adversity but refuses to let it define him. And hey, let's not ignore this. Ogunjobi was the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Steelers. That means he brings leadership, accountability, community presence in a locker room that's had its fair share of change this offseason. That matters. So, Bills Mafia, I want to hear from you. Would you pull the trigger on a trade for Terry McLaren? Do you believe Maxwell Hairston will win the CB job out of camp? And most importantly, do these pieces make Buffalo the Super Bowl favorite in 2025? Drop your takes in the comments. I read everyone and respond to the best ones right here on the channel. If you love this kind of content, deep dives, roster updates, insider-style reporting, hit that like button. Subscribe to Buffalo Beat News and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Training camp is almost here. The battles are heating up, and the road to a Super Bowl starts now. Let's go, Bills!